Hi, my name is Ellen Maisel from the CVI Center at Perkins. Today I'd like to discuss the Perkins CVI assessment area of visual guidance of upper limb. When we think about the visual guidance of upper limbs, we really think about the assessment area where we're looking at reaching while maintaining visual attention, for reaching and placing items while looking, for reaching accurately while looking, and looking while exploring an object. Visual guidance of upper limb, your arms and your hands, is part of the broader category of visual guidance of motor skills. What the research tells us is that visual guidance of upper limbs requires orienting both the head and the eyes to learn this visual guided reaching and grasping. It involves that dorsal stream networks and some of the other brain capacities which gather visual information needed in order to guide reaching. It requires the brain to turn this information into skills for motor planning and for control. What we know about visual guidance of upper limbs is that individuals with CVI may have difficulties with visual tasks that involve this hand and eye use. The lack of visual access to the environment means they lack the awareness that objects are there and therefore do not initiate reaching. They may locate materials and then avert their eyes when reaching. We know that individuals with CVI may have a poorer quality of reaching because they don't know the exact location of items that are not visually processed very well. They may display reaching that's sweeping, slow, or inaccurate. They may have difficulty placing one item in relation to another item, such as next to, on top of, or on. They may rely on tactile skills for the location of objects in their environment. This lack of understanding where objects are in space and lack of ability to reach accurately or place accurately is highly reported by parents. They often say their child spills things or their child places things in the wrong place in relation to a surface, for instance. So in this picture here, what you have is a cup just teetering on the edge of the surface of the table because that child does not really understand where the table is in relation to that object they're trying to place. Children with CVI can also have trouble writing because their writing lacks spacing and their placement of the writing instrument is inaccurate. So when they lift their pen off the paper, they have a difficult time knowing where in space to place the pen in a visually guided way. They may be impacted by background clutter, the number of items in the presentation, whether the items are backlit or not, and whether or not the environment is appropriately adapted. And all of these can affect the visual guidance of upper limbs. We know that color is often a great support for visual guidance of upper limbs. So in this picture here, you see a signature of a young man named Tom. It's widely spaced, it's not formed on a line, it's very difficult to read. And then just by providing a small highlighted square of yellow, that child is able to know exactly where to place their pen in order to write their name Tom in a much more legible way. In this example here, a child was having difficulty placing a piece of paper into a folder, and just by applying a little line of color where that slot is, that child was able to do this more accurately. For the child unable to place objects into bins correctly, just a bit of color highlighting on the edge helps understand where in space this material should go. We always want to listen to the voices of CVI, and the voices of CVI include parents and students. So this particular parent said, "Dinner's a messy affair at our house. My son either knocks over his drink or puts the cup too close to the edge and it falls off. We're just used to it." This CVI parent says, "My daughter looks at things briefly to see where they are, but can't look while reaching. It's amazing she can still find it while looking away." I think that's a great example of a child using tactile supports. Another CVI parent says, "If there's too much clutter around the target, my son has a really difficult time using visual motor skills. He'll reach past something, around it, or stop short of it. He often uses tactile skills when searching for something. He rarely looks and reaches at the same time. And that's okay. He has strategies that work for him. When the task and the environment allow visual access by reducing clutter, noise, movement, and materials that are accessible, he's able to visually guide his arm and hand. But after a certain point, it still becomes very fatiguing." Here's some of our more current research on visual guidance of upper limbs by Atkinson and Braddock, Chakran and Dutton, Gordon Dutton, Goodale, Kelly, Phillips, and Santago. Every child with CVI is teachable, and every child has a right to a meaningful and accessible education. We're urgently confronting the leading cause of childhood blindness. Please join us.